Uh, so, guys, today I just want to say new developments. 4 countries have now been added to the tally that have qualified for the 2019 Women's World Cup. The qualification process is still going on, and 4 more spots were taken today by Europe, and they were Germany, 2-time Women's World Cup champions, Norway, a 1-time World Cup women's champion, as well as Sweden and Scotland, who for the first time ever will be premiering in a Women's World Cup next summer. So now that means the group stage of European Women's World Cup qualifying has been completed. The only stage after this is the playoffs, where there are 4 teams that will be battling out for just 1 more spot, because of the fact that prior to today, 5 European countries had already qualified, and Europe gets 8 spots in this 24-team tournament, plus 1 for the host, so that's 9 spots. So Norway qualified with a victory over the Netherlands today, which is hard luck for the Netherlands because going into this final match, they only needed a draw away from home against Norway to qualify directly, but Norway picked up the 2-1 victory with 2 early goals in the first half. And they just pipped over the Netherlands to get that direct spot, sending the Netherlands, who are actually the current UEFA European Women's Champions, to the playoffs, where they're in real danger of not emerging as the playoff victor, and they may not qualify for the World Cup, which is a little bit. It would be very disappointing if the Netherlands don't make it, because they've been an up and coming side on the women's scene, and like I said, they're the current European champions, and many people, are myself included, have billed them as a potential dark horse to go on a deep run next summer in France, but they have to get there first, and they have to do better than 3 other teams. Scotland qualified with a 2-1 victory away from home against Albania, and they stunned Switzerland, who was actually ahead of Scotland on goal difference on the final day, but Switzerland could not put away their chances against Poland on the road, and Scotland went ahead of Switzerland, and Scotland have qualified for the first time, so we will get at least 2 debutantes in the World Cup next summer with Scotland, and the other one I'll get to in a bit. And then elsewhere, Germany wrapped up professionally with an 8-0 victory on the road in the Faroe Islands to finish top of their group to qualify directly ahead of Iceland, who will not be in the playoffs because they were not one of the best 4 runners-up. Harsh luck on Iceland. And then elsewhere, Sweden qualified directly because they defeated Denmark, their neighbors and rivals, away from home by a scoreline of 1-0. So that means that Europe's spots that are still up for grabs, the 1 spot left, will be contested between the 4 teams that are as follows: Netherlands, Switzerland, Denmark, and Belgium. And what's interesting about European Women's World Cup qualifying is that it's actually more brutal than the European Men's World Cup qualifying, because in the men's playoffs, you get drawn against 1 team that you play twice home and away. Well, unfortunately, since only 1 team can grab out of 4 remaining, that means the 4 teams that I just mentioned will be paired into 2 pairings, home and away, and then the winner of those 2 fixtures play each other home and away. So, if you do not qualify directly from UEFA, and you finish as one of the best runners-up, you don't have to play 2 additional games for a second chance to qualify. You have to play 4. 2 home and away for each. That's quite brutal. And looking at the 4 remaining teams, Netherlands, Switzerland, and Denmark, all 3 of whom were right into contention to finish directly on the final match day, which was today, and all three are pretty decent teams. Belgium is sort of the odd one out. They had already been relegated to the playoffs well before the final match day, but you had teams like the Netherlands and Switzerland who were on top of their groups, and they fucked up today, and that's why Norway and Scotland qualified in their place. So the playoffs is going to be really rough, and it's going to be interesting to see who grabs Europe's final spot for the Women's World Cup. I'd say the Netherlands are slight favorites, but we could see a scenario, guys, where the European champions don't qualify for the World Cup next summer, because Denmark and Switzerland and Belgium are no pushovers, you know. Since those four teams that I mentioned earlier, Germany, Sweden, Norway, and Scotland, qualified today, that means in total 15 countries out of 24 that will be featured next summer have punched a ticket to France. That means there are only 9 more spots up for grabs, and they will be determined between now and late November in the other confederations. Who are the 15 countries that have qualified for the Women's World Cup so far? Well, from Asia, which, by the way, the AFC qualifying season is over, there will be 5 teams. And those 5 teams that have qualified from Asia are Japan, South Korea, Australia, China, and Thailand. The same 5 as 4 years ago. The 8 from Europe, as mentioned, host nation France, England, Spain, Italy, Germany, Norway, Sweden, and Scotland. And 2 from CONMEBOL, South America, that have qualified, Brazil, and the other debutantes that I said I would mention that are making their first ever appearance in a Women's World Cup, Chile. So, 9 more spots are up for grabs. CONCACAF, the CONCACAF Women's Championship, takes place in October. I'll make a separate video for that because the draw for that came out today. But CONCACAF will get 3.5 spots. 3 direct and half, which will be a playoff spot against the 3rd place team from CONMEBOL, from the Copa Femenina, and that 3rd place team is Argentina. So the 4th placed CONCACAF team in the CONCACAF Women's Championship will play against Argentina in a 2-legged international playoff for one of the final spots in the World Cup next summer. Africa gets 3 spots. The African Women's Cup of Nations takes place in November, and there are only 8 teams that are in it. It's a mini tournament, and the top 3, the 2 finalists, and the 3rd place team will qualify. And then the OFC Women's Nations Cup takes place, I believe, in November as well, where only the winner qualifies because Oceania gets 1 spot. So, that's the update, guys. We have 4 countries qualify today. We are now past the halfway mark where more than half of the teams' identities are now known of who will be in the World Cup next year in France. Those are the 15 countries. Most confederations are not settled yet, but those are the 15 countries that have made it. Congratulations to all of them, and congratulations to the 4 women's teams today who made it in Scotland, Norway, Sweden, and Germany. Good luck next summer. And yeah, I will be covering the qualification process as I did cover the qualification for the Men's World Cup in late 2017. You know how it is. The sort of end of the year, right before the year a World Cup takes place, is when you start seeing a huge deluge of teams that officially qualify. So I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you updated. Be sure to follow me on Twitter because I actually post things there before I make YouTube videos, lately at least. So, yeah, there you have it. I will make a video making predictions for the CONCACAF Women's Championship in October. And the reason why that's important is because it doubles as World Cup qualification. And that's the thing about women's World Cup qualifying. The way that it's structured is differently than the men's. The regional competitions, so like the Women's Asian Cup, the Women's CONCACAF, the Women's Copa America, they serve a dual purpose of also being a qualification thing. So it's a tournament and qualification. So the stakes are very high. So I'll make maybe on Thursday or so, I'll give predictions for the CONCACAF Women's Championship. Therefore, also giving predictions on who I think will qualify for the Women's World Cup from CONCACAF. But anyway, I just wanted to keep you updated. Have a good day. And I should make my UEFA Nations League video for League A tonight. I wanted to do it 2 days ago. I just didn't get around to it. And then I wanted to do it last night, but I felt like a zombie. I was completely so tired. But yeah, that starts on Thursday, so I will get to that tonight. Take care. Peace.